How do you edit your video? Oh, okay. How to edit video. Ta-da! There you go. I'm kidding. Okay. So, if you're like me, you're a teacher who's finding themselves having to learn how to edit or having to start making videos, which you may not have had to do before if you were teaching in a regular, that's my bird, teaching in a regular classroom. You could go through a bunch of YouTube tutorials to learn to do this better, but maybe you need to start now. So I'm going to show you the basic tools you need to edit a video in 5 minutes or less. So to be able to really edit a video, there's really only two things you have to understand. You have to understand the structure of how a video editing software works, and maybe know like 2 or 3 tools that will help you out with that. Now the software that I use is called VSDC, Free Video Editor. I don't know if I can recommend it or not recommend it. I haven't seen enough software to make a judgment on that. All I can say is it's free, it's easy enough for me to use, and this is what I'm going to show you guys how to edit with. You can just go ahead and close this because you don't really need that. There's a lot of stuff here. It's overwhelming. Don't worry about it. Just there's extra features for you to learn how to use the program better. We can do that later, not right now. I'm going to click on Bring Project. I'm going to name it Example because why not? And I'm going to leave everything else alone because that doesn't matter. And ta-da, there you go. Now looking at this, you might be saying, whoa, like Peter, what's all this stuff? And you're right. There's a lot of stuff that looks like a lot of buttons. We're going to ignore most of them. The thing we have to understand are 2 things. How the timeline works, which is this section right here on the bottom, and the concept of layers. Just about every video editing software has a timeline where you drop in the audio or video clips or images that you want in your video. As you go through the timeline, you go through the video. The timeline is also organized by layers, with all of these different objects, the video clips, the audio clips, etc., stacked on top of each other in different layers. The objects on top will block any objects underneath. So now that we understand that the video editing program is basically working on layers and things are just stacked on top of each other, we can go ahead and start manipulating things pretty easily. All we have to do is understand how to bring in an object and then how to change that object. And that's what we're going to cover in the next section of the video. Let's say I want to drop in a clip. I'm going to add object, video, and then select the one that I want. Let's say for now, I want this one, just the background. I'm going to say from cursor position, that's from where this line is. Yep. And there it is. Now let's say that I want to edit this video. Maybe I only want the parts where my hands don't show up. Right? So I will cut this part out. So I will go ahead and find the section. These little arrows right here, let me move through different frames. And then up here on this top section, I see a section that says cutting and splitting. This one lets me split into parts. With my video selected, I split. And now, instead of 1 video, it's 2 videos. I can do that again later on. Let's say over here. And split it again. And now this little section that I didn't want can be gone. Put them together. And it's like nothing happened. Now that you know how to edit a video, you can go ahead and start splicing different bits of videos together, and you can start making something like, for example, this montage. In this montage, you can see me putting different little clips together. Now, what if you also wanted to go ahead and add text? Or for example, have your voice over another video? Well, that's where the layers come in. Looking at the timeline for the video you're watching right now, you can see a section here where I have 3 things stacked up on top of each other. The very first bottom layer is my basically audio track. This is the sound that you're listening to. Then you have the green visual background track. This is the video that I just showed with no sound. And then at the very top, you have the text that you see there yourself. What will happen if I have all my layers and all my chunks still unedited? All those layers, even though I can only see the top layer, maybe the top video or the top text, all the other layers are still there. So they're still making sound. Just because you can't see me doesn't mean you can't hear me. I went ahead and dropped in a couple clips just to show what I'm talking about in my example. Stacked on top of each other, this is what you get. So it took me forever to record this. So now that we understand that you can't see me, doesn't mean it's like every single video is talking at once, right? let's say I need to go ahead and mute everything except for the ones on the top, right? Well, I could click on this video, the very bottom segment, right click, audio effects, amplitude, talks about like how strong or how loud something is, right? And then just go click and click on silence. I want the whole parent, the whole clip to be muted. If I wanted to make it different, I could do that. I'm not gonna get fancy right now. I'm just gonna mute it. Again, go back to scene. This is muted now. And now, just because you can't see me doesn't mean you can't hear me. Moving clips is just as easy as clicking and dragging. If I want to clip and just move it around, I can do that. If I want it at the beginning, I'll just drag it to the beginning. If I wanted the clip to be in a different layer, I just grab it and drag it to where I want it to be in a different layer. If I want a clip gone, I just go ahead and right click, delete, and the clip is gone. And that what brings us to 5 minutes. Now with everything you learned so far, you can go ahead and make a video just like the ones that I made. You know how to bring in and manipulate a clip to edit it down to a certain size or to split it up into different sections. You can splice different clips together and to make montages or show different things in quick succession. And you can also play around with the layers to show different qualities of clips while muting certain ones. So you can, for example, have a voiceover while you show something else on the screen. And if you'd like to see some more tips and tricks, you can go ahead and just keep watching the video and I'll explain some of the other stuff that I did. Even if I'm not looking at it on the cursor, I can select the video. You can see me selecting this video right here. If I right click it, I can start editing it or changing it, adding video effects. If I needed to, for example, flip it, maybe my phone did it upside down. I want the whole parent, that means the whole clip. Say okay. I'm in this layer right here, which is the video layer. If I go back to scene 0, I go back to the video. So now the whole thing is upside down. If I want to undo it, I'll just go to undo, on edit, and undo again. And there I am, back to normal. I can bring this up and down to make this a little bit bigger, give myself more space or less space for the timeline. And I can also zoom in or out. If you look at the corner over here, where I am, I can zoom in to make the timeline a little easier to manipulate or zoom out to see more of the video. Let's say I also wanted to add text. Well, right here in this bar is the text tool. I can add a text or a counter. I'm gonna choose text right now. From cursor position, that's my red line right here. And you can even say how long you want it to be. If you wanted to lock the end position, say I only want it to be up to the 6-minute mark, you can do that. I'm just gonna go ahead and add it like this. That means it will just fill it in to the end of the clip. I can select how big I want it to be. So I want my text box to be like this. It's just like a regular text box, and I can start writing what I want. Title, card, or whatever have you, whatever I feel like typing in here, I can do that. Change the size of the font, make it as big as I want, make it even bigger if I wanted to, or different colors, all sorts of stuff. And I can manipulate it afterwards by clicking and dragging, same as before. So as I play, my title will be right there. I can move it around. Maybe I want it earlier. Clicking this over here. If you see this little play button I'm pressing, it lets me preview what I've already done. And I can see what I'm doing. See? And then it goes away. Just like that. Happy editing. I forgot to tell you what to do when you're done. Okay, so let's say I'm done editing the whole thing, right? And I'm done with my whole video, and there it is. I'm gonna go ahead and go to this part up here, projects, and then to export project. You can select what kind of file size you type or what kind of thing you want to do, except for the internet, except for the whatever. I usually just leave this alone. It's for my PC. I leave it to AVI. I'm not fancy. I can go ahead and decide where it's gonna go. And then right here where it says export project, I export. This comes up, I ignore it. I just say, you know what, I'm not gonna upgrade it now. I continue. Once it starts doing this, it'll take a little while. It'll do its thing, and it'll be done. I'm gonna stop mine because I have to, because I still have to keep working on it.